In today's video, we're going to discuss my dilemma with owning SQY and CONY along with Bitcoin. SQY is Square and CONY is Coinbase, and those are Yieldmax ETFs that have really large dividends and they track the price of Bitcoin. So I'm going to explain the issue that I'm having when combining those three names into my portfolio. So we earn over $150,000 per year in dividends at this channel, and my performance value shows that we're beating the S&P again. We're up for the year 1.58%, whereas the S&P is up 1.47%. I told you we would catch up in performance as most of our investments are indexed. So if the indexes go higher, so do we. Look, we're at 1.18% on Friday, and the S&P was up about 1.23%. So we are in line with the indexes, but we're getting both dividends and these capital gains, which is really hard to achieve unless you have all the right holdings in your account and you pull all the right levers in your brokerage account. So I'm living the FIRE lifestyle, which is financially independent, retire early, and so can you. Email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com. When we reach the 1,000 member mark in the Discord chat room, I'll be eliminating my free phone number service. Discord members who already bought my e-guides will keep free access to my phone number and Discord for life, of course, but any member after 1,000 will have to pay separately. So the first issue I'm having with these names, Square, CONY, and Bitcoin, is that they are non-indexed, okay? You know that I don't like non-indexed names here. Everything that I buy is indexed, okay? So I've been lightening up on my small cap exposure and Bitcoin exposure to be more in line with the overall indexes. So I've been lightening up on Bitcoin itself. I've been selling some of my altcoins, and I've been loading up into the indexes by selling more options on the indexes. If you need help understanding options, you can call me anytime and I'll walk you through it over the phone. I'll just share with you my strategies. I'm not giving you any advice per se, but I'll walk you through it and show you how I'm doing it myself. So I used options. I sold options on the indexes to get more performance. And of course, I've been buying more index names. I've been buying more Defiance. Of course, I already have about 400 grand in Cornerstone. That's my favorite fund. That is a 4-star fund. In case you don't know, on Morningstar, you can see Cornerstone 4-star fund, and it beats the S&P over the last 10 years. See my past videos if you don't believe me. You have to factor back in the dividends and drips. Cornerstone has a 21% dividend and drips that down at the NAV every month for free money. So keep that in mind. You just have to time this fund around its rights offerings. Closed-end funds have rights offerings. Time them properly. If you need help playing Cornerstone and other closed-end funds, that's in my Volume 4 e-guide. So I'm using Cornerstone for the capital gains side of the equation, and I'm using Defiance for the pure income. I'm going to use iSpy, Yieldmax, and some more FEPI for additional income and index growth. I'm just waiting for a dip in the market. The market has been consolidating along the highs, and I'm trying to buy, but again, I'm waiting for a more significant pullback before adding any more risk here, because as you know, I have about 130,000 of margin debt on, okay, and I'm not trying to add to my leverage at the highs of the market. I'm chomping at the bit to add to more of these names and increase my income to get it over 200,000 per year, but at the moment, the market has just had a huge run, and we're still consolidating. So I've been lightening up on Bitcoin names and going away from the altcoins and more into Bitcoin itself, like ARK A, we have here ARK B. Okay, so we've been going more into Bitcoin names itself, the highest market caps of Bitcoin, and I've been going more into the indexes themselves to get more index exposure. But as far as Square and CONY go, I want to buy more of them because they have such a large dividend. CONY, if you go to its maintenance here in Snapshot, you can see that it has about 114% dividend. It's ridiculous, okay? But it's 50% maintenance. So that's the second dilemma I'm having with buying more CONY and Square, or Block, whatever you want to call that company, is first, they're not indexed, and second of all, they have high maintenance. They have 50% maintenance. If you need help understanding maintenance, that's in my Volume 3 Margin e-guide. Maintenance is everything at this channel, okay? To live the FIRE lifestyle, you have to have high available for withdrawal. So my account may be around 500,000 at 487, but my available for withdrawal is now 213. This means that I can withstand over 30% corrections in the market, and I can withdraw freely out of my account. This is, again, how you live the FIRE lifestyle, but you have to keep this number high by buying low maintenance names. So Yieldmax has a lot of 50% names, once again, and that sucks up 50% of my equity. Beware of that. Now, you can always switch brokers and go to another place with lower maintenance, like Interactive Brokers or Robinhood, but they don't have the special drip for Cornerstone. So you have to weigh your options carefully when you're switching brokers. Some people have two brokers. Some people keep E-Trade and Fidelity, and then they'll add on a Robinhood or IBKR for the low maintenance. So keep that in mind when you're looking at brokers. And if you need more help finding those, my Discord chat room has a brokerage specifics channel. They can tell you which brokerages have the lowest maintenance and who has a special drip for Cornerstone. Okay, so just note that small cap growth trades different than large cap growth. Okay, that's what a lot of these Bitcoin names are. They're risk on names. And if you go to my performance and value section again, you'll see that the Russell is down about 4% for the year. Okay, you see the Russell down 4%. The Russell is mainly small caps. Well, small caps are an indication of risk on sentiment. So Bitcoin and small caps usually follow each other as a result. So if you want growth, you want the NASDAQ because that's up 2%, whereas the Russell is down 4%. That's large cap growth versus small cap growth. That's the big difference. And if you're going with small cap growth, you're going to lose performance. So I've been lightening up on Bitcoin once again, and then I want some Square and CONY. But let's go to a chart of Square, okay? I think you'll find this to be very interesting. So Square looks a lot like CONY, and we'll go through the CONY chart, but Square has had a nice pullback, and it is now approaching the 200-day moving average. So here it is, the black line, the 200-day moving average. This is a huge point. Okay, this is what every trader's been looking for. This is what both long-term investors and short-term traders are looking for. They want to enter positions around the 200-day. If you need help understanding technicals, that's in my Volume 2 e-guide. So we're at the 200, but we're not completely oversold yet. I'd like to see a touch of the gray or around 20 on the RSI before I got involved in a meaningful way. And then also we're seeing the MACD line up for another cross here to the upside. So we have the makings of a bottom in Square, but we're still up over 50% from the lows. If you look at the lows here of 40, we're over 60, so that's over 50% because we had a 100% move from 40 to 80. So we're having a nice retracement, a nice pullback here. If you're a Fibonacci guy, maybe you're looking into the retracement areas, the 50% retracement mark. This looks like a good place to enter once again. This is also old support here. So this old support level, this line, this area here, this support level, this is where we're back at. We're near these consolidation levels, okay, and those old support levels. So keep this in mind when you're trying to buy CONY and Square. I already own a good chunk of both companies, but if you want to add to positions or start a position in these companies, then this would be an ideal place near the 200-day moving average. Am I going to buy more here? I don't know. We're at resistance of 80. The resistance was 80 and 80 again. This is very clear. And we're at the 200-day moving average. However, it's not indexed. So if I buy more Square, then I risk losing potentially big on a single stock because you know I like to keep my stocks at about $1,500. So 15 here, you can see most of my stocks between $1,000 and $1,500. When you start getting to $3,000 and $4,000 positions in your stocks, you really increase your risk because when the market falls 2 or 3% in a day, you can really lose your shirt. And so you have to be aware of these stock-specific names, especially ones that are not indexed. Okay, Square and Coinbase are not in the indexes. Now, if we go to a chart of Coinbase, you'll see it looks very similar to Square, okay, or a block. Coinbase, as you can see here on its chart, is also approaching the 200-day moving average, as you can see here. Now, we're on that purple line, which is the 100. But if we go any lower to $100 a share, we're at the 200, and we're at old resistance here, which was formed in around July. We have old resistance here, which is becoming new support. Okay, so this is also looking like a key time to get involved in Coinbase. However, the RSI is still not completely oversold. And again, we haven't touched that 200-day moving average completely. So I don't feel good about buying just yet. We have gone a lot lower. I've nibbled a little bit here and there. I've bought 500 here and there on the dip, but I'm not getting aggressive in getting my position back up to 10,000 in Coinbase just yet. Okay, as you can see, we have about 6,000 in CONY and we have about 3,000 in Square. So I want to get CONY up to about 10,000 again, and I may consider doing that on Monday. But for now, I'm kind of on the fence. What do you guys think? Okay, leave comments in the section below if you think CONY and Square are a good buy here. Regardless of what the stock price does, I'm going to cash flow it in about a year because the dividend is 100%. So no matter what the stock price does, we're going to double anyway. So I don't really care what the stock price does, but I don't want to get too overloaded at these levels, okay, when the market's still at the highs and when we still have a lot of downside to go before we reach old support. I don't want to get too aggressive here, but let me know what you think, okay? Also, I want to keep my index exposure. That's why I'm not adding too much more, as you know. My performance dipped in the negative, if you saw in the last video, and we finally got it back up into the positive, and we're beating the S&P again, and I want to keep it like that. Because again, all I want to do is collect my dividends of over 100,000, over 150,000. We're at about 180,000 in dividends right now. All I want to do is collect that uninterrupted, and as long as we're going somewhere with the indexes, we're doing fine, okay? Because when you fall, if you're tied to the indexes, you fall by the amount of the indexes. That eliminates most margin call risk. So if you like what I'm doing, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com. When you buy my e-guides, you get free access to the Discord chat room for life, and you get my phone number for life, but only up until 1,000 members is reached in Discord. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that I own a small amount of altcoins and Bitcoin miners. I own enough to where they can make a big difference for me if they go higher, but if they go lower, they won't really affect my performance. And I concentrated most of my Bitcoin capital in Bitcoin and Ethereum itself. So keep that in mind. And again, remember that those are linked to small caps and risk on, which don't really trade with large cap tech. And if you want more income, it looks like you can add to CONY and Square here at these levels, but beware that they're not indexed. So don't be too aggressive in these names, especially when the market is still consolidating near the highs. All right, if you like the video, click like or subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.